Hi guys, just going to go through the extension maths for those of you that attempted it yesterday. So this first one here, second half score. In the first half of their match against Range Hill School, Bulwark's Academy scored all of the points. In the second half, each side scored 3 points. At the end of the match, Bulwark's Academy had scored 90% of the points. What fraction of the points were scored in the second half? Right. So for this purpose, I'm just going to use some colours here to help. So Bulwark scored all the points in the first half. So I'm just going to take a good amount because if you look, they only scored 3 each in the second. So I'm going to take a good portion here and give that to Bulwark's, like so. Now this is the key part here. So it says at the end of the match, Bulwark's had scored 90% of the points, but in the second half, each side scored 3 points. So that means that this remaining part of the bar here, we need to split in half because they actually each scored the same. And we know that's worth 3 because, and so is this one here, okay? And then it says at the end of the match, Bulwark's Academy has scored 90% of the points, which means that Range Hill had scored 10%. So what we actually know here is that all of this from here to here is 90%, which means that this is worth 10%. And then the question actually asks how many were scored in the second half, which what it actually really wants is it wants from here all the way to here. And if we look, they scored the same. So this 10% means that this is also worth 10%. So in terms of this mystery percentage of what was scored in the second half would be 20%. The next one, between a 6th and a 12th. So on this number line, the space between a 6th and a 12th is split into 3 equal parts. What number is indicated by the arrow? Now, usually we do midway points where we can add them together and half it. But as you can see, there's actually 3 jumps here, so we can't use that strategy. So we need to find out what this jump is though. So the way we could do that is by finding the difference, which is just taking the smaller one away from the larger one, like so. So that jump is actually worth a 12th over here. But the problem we've got is the numerator is 1, but we've actually got 3 jumps. So we're going to have to make our numerator into 3 so that we can then make those jumps. So if we're going to turn a 12th to have a numerator of 3, the denominator is going to have to be 36 because it's 3 lots of 12. So now we know this gap here is a 12, but it is also 3 36. And now what that tells us is if this whole thing, these 3 jumps worth 3 36, each little jump must therefore be worth 1 36. So now it's a case of knowing that this 1/12 is worth 3 36. We add another one on to this one being worth 4 36. And then, like most fractional questions, if we simplify, would become a 9th. And then lastly, Pied Piper. So, Pied Piper. On Monday, the Pied Piper caught 1,000 rats in the city. I'm just going to make that a bit smaller. On Tuesday, he caught 10% fewer than on Monday. So, Monday, he catches 1,000. Eventually, we're going to be given lots of information about the rats, and at the end, it wants to know the total. So, we're going to have to keep a bit of an eye on what happens here. So, M for Monday, T for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then he has a rest. So, he doesn't do anything on Friday. So on Tuesday, he caught 10% fewer than on Monday. So 10% of that is 100. Just take that off, which means on a Tuesday, he's done 900. And then it says on Wednesday, he caught 20% more than on Tuesday. So we're going to find 20% of Tuesday. 10% of 900 will be 90. Double that is 180 and pop it on. Like so. And then On Thursday, he caught 30% fewer than on Wednesday. So 10%, we need to find 30% and take it off basically. So 10% is 108. So therefore 30, it's going to be 3 of those, 3, 2, 4. And then we need to take it out of there because it says fewer. 3, 2, 4, yeah, I'm right. Sorry about my bad 0 there. So let's subtract. So 756. And then because I've organized them like this, it comes into a nice addition sum. So 8 add 5 would be 13. 9 add 7, 16, add 1, 7. Put the 1 on the bottom. 3,736. I hope that helped.